Unfiltered sports talk manufactured locally for the Carolinas. This is the Rob Brown Show.
Yeah.
Only on ESPN.
ESPN Upstate.
You get the silky smooth voice of the D-Train. Diesel, right along with us today. What's up, fella?
Otherwise known as the OG.
We've called him worse.
I am the OG.
This is correct. The OG Rob Brown Show crew back together one more time again. Today's our last day together until it's our next time together.
My voice is very sultry and deep today.
Is.
I feel more like Vin Diesel. Just give me those. It's about family. We about family.
The score right now says Diesel 0, Ragweed 1.
Yeah.
And so Diesel doing his best Barry White impression on the show today.
Let's get it on.
My jeans just unbuttoned. That was weird. I don't know how that happened. Listen to you bringing the bass today.
Don't ask me to hit the high notes. I can't do it.
Ladies and gentlemen, he has not even turned up the bass button on the board today. That's just how Diesel brought the noise.
All natural.
It's a little creepy the more that it happens. Now that you pointed it out. Diesel walks in the building today. Well, first off, he texted me at like 8:30 this morning like, hey, man, I don't have a voice right now. Like, I'm good to work the board, but I can't talk.
I woke up and I was out of that. I had nothing. I had nothing at 8 o'clock this morning.
But champions rise, or should I say drop their voice to the occasion.
Rule number 76, play like a champion.
Play like a champion. Clear eyes, full heart, can't lose. Diesel brought out the noise today. I like to hear it.
Rule number 174 is never walk away from a fellow crasher in a funny hat.
Rule number 93.
Family.
Love it. Later on, I'm just going to have Diesel read female movie quotes in that voice. Just to make my own day.
Don't go, Jack. Don't go.
Oh, man. I'm Rob Brown. He is Diesel. I'm glad to have you guys hanging out with us today. Ladies of the Upstate, Diesel is off the market. I'm so sorry to tell you. You make me like, you ever had that friend that tries really hard to fit in with everybody else? And so if everybody else is like, big sports guy, suddenly they're a big sports guy. Everybody else is talking about fishing. All of a sudden he's a fishing guy. You with that voice makes me want to drop my voice down deeper. Because I feel inadequate next to Diesel's bass right now. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Rob Brown Show. Rob and Diesel, the most bass-filled sports talk radio show in the Upstate. We got NFL football for you today. Coming up at 1:30, Joe Giglio at QL is going to join us. We're going to give you your comprehensive betting guide to the NCAA Tournament Sweet 16. Baby. I can't do it. Can't do it longer than that. All right, busy day on the show today. Hope that you'll join us. Phone line is open for you at 844-GSP-ESPN. That's 844-477-3776. You can also text us on the Preferred Home Services text line at 71307, 71307. Start your text with ESPN, and we will read them on the air. Before we get going, want to text who says, red eyes, stuffy nose, can't talk. I told the lady friend yesterday, I said, based on what Diesel said he's going through, you can expect that I am going to be an absolutely wreck of a human being for the next 2 to 6 weeks. I love this time of year. Weather's beautiful. Brought the motorcycle into work today because of how nice it is outside. Get a little wind therapy under me. But then also had to pay the extra money to have a pollen filter installed on my motorcycle helmet because otherwise I'd end up wrecking out the first time ragweed got in. That's the age I am. But yeah, man, I drive a motorcycle. I got the sick helmet with the Bluetooth speakers and the bass booster in it, and also this kick-ass pollen filter that I had installed. Man, ladies and gentlemen, that's how cool I am. All right. Real quick, before we get into the sports of the day, want to tell you all, tomorrow, this show will be on at a special time. We will be on from 9 a.m. until noon tomorrow. We are on from 9 a.m. until noon tomorrow with a very special announcement for you. So, if you are a regular listener of the Rob Brown Show from noon to 3, tomorrow a special edition of the Rob Brown Show will be going from 9 a.m. to noon. So make sure you wake up earlier, you bum! Get out of bed. We got sports to talk about. Ain't none of y'all except me in bed at 9 a.m. on weekdays, right? Every one of y'all's like, Brown, shut up. I don't want to hear it. Anyway, on 9 a.m. till noon tomorrow for a very special edition of the Rob Brown Show and a very special announcement for the Rob Brown Show. So be here tomorrow morning at 9 a.m. for a huge announcement about the show and the station. Make sure you're sticking around for that tomorrow. Again, that is 9 to noon. All of that being said, ladies and gentlemen, it is time to start the show the way we always start the show. We start the show right now. It is the lunch breakdown, the 3 things you have to know before you go start talking sports with your friends, family, coworker, or the dog, whoever you spend your lunch break with. When you gather around the lunch table, ladies and gentlemen, this will be the scuttlebutt. These will be the things that you were talking about when you do said talking. We start with item number 1 on the lunch breakdown today. It is official. Well, it's going to be made official very, very shortly. But the Gamecocks of South Carolina men's basketball team has their new Shooty Hoops head coach, Lamont Paris, who Furman fans are very familiar with after David Jean-Baptiste and the Chattanooga Mocs knocked off Furman in the SoCon finals with a heartbreaker, a dagger of a 3 at the buzzer in OT to knock Chattanooga's first trip to the dance and scratch Furman's dance card out entirely. Lamont Paris will try to have the same level of success with the Gamecocks basketball programming, leaving Chattanooga to be the next Gamecocks coach, according to a report late last night by ESPN's Pete Thamel and Jeff Borzello. The 47-year-old will be the 33rd head coach in school history, replaces Frank Martin, who was fired back on the 14th after 10 seasons. The school did not announce the hire last night, either should have been or should be very soon, making that hire official. The Mocs went 27-8 this season, made it to the NCAA tournament. Lamont Paris holds an 87-71 career record with the program in his 5 seasons. This year's March Madness bid was Lamont Paris's first as a head coach, as the number 13 seeded Mocs lost by just a single point to the number 4 seed Illinois out of the Big Ten in a game that if they would have had 1 basket drop somewhere down the line in the 13 points they scored in the back 18 minutes of that game, they would have moved on. They would have become a Cinderella. Prior to arriving in Chattanooga, he served as an assistant coach at Wisconsin from 2011 to 17, working under both Bo Ryan and Greg Gard. He will get a 5-year contract from the University of South Carolina. We do not have the financial deals yet immediately available, but the annual salary for Lamont Paris at Chattanooga was $250,000 a year. Frank Martin making $3.2 million a year. Either way, going to be a nice little pay bump for Lamont Paris. And, we talked about this yesterday just a little bit, Diesel, about the fact that if you are South Carolina, you've got to roll the dice on a young coach, a rising star, somebody whose star will rise along with your basketball program. Lamont Paris has been known for working the transfer portal very effectively for the Mocs. In fact, he brought in a couple of former D1 four-star athletes down to Chattanooga, hence the success that the Mocs have had the last couple of years, including a tournament bid this year. I like this hire for South Carolina. The record book does not look stellar for Lamont Paris at about a 65% winning percentage, but there are coaches out there at the top level with significantly worse records, and without a bid, he's got one now after winning the Southern Conference this year. We talked about going young. We talked about rising stars. I don't know, Diesel, if I would say Lamont Paris is a rising star. I would say a cat with a 65-ish% winning percentage, a cat with a tournament bid, and a cat who was a David Jean-Baptiste back-to-back highlight reel game-winning 3 away from knocking off one of the Big Ten's powerhouses. I'd say it's a good look for South Carolina. I'd say that's a good hire. Everything we wanted, right? We talked about it yesterday. South Carolina is not a destination that was going to pull a top 10 coach out of another D1 program and bring him down. You had to pull a guy who was an up-and-comer, a guy that had some record of proven success, a guy that was going to be able to increase your recruiting. And I think Lamont Paris is that guy. I think it's a good hire for South Carolina. Coming up later on the show, I got 5 facts about Lamont Paris that South Carolina fans are going to want to know to get familiar with their new head coach in the realm of shooty hoops. We'll come to that later on in the show. Item number 2 on the lunch breakdown. To Major League Baseball we go, and it's another off-the-field story, because of course it is. For all of the crap that the Astros and Red Sox have taken for being
I took it off while I was in the middle of production. I didn't want to be on screen, just like looking. I'm trying to figure some stuff out because
Okay. So your
if you want to put us on, we'll be right back.
yeah. Let me figure it out. Hang on just a second. Not that you can hear me. All right.
The reason I ask is because I didn't want to be talking about stuff with the mics hot.
All right, if you missed it earlier, special announcement coming up tomorrow, but the show tomorrow for that special time is going to be 9 to noon tomorrow. So if you are a Rob Brown Show fan, of which there's at least, me, my mom, sometimes my girlfriend, there's at least 4. All right, there's at least 4 fans of this show. If you're a fan of the show, tomorrow we're on from 9 to noon. We will have the Facebook stream up like we always do. So you're going to want to check that out. But again, tomorrow, 9 to noon, special time, special announcement on the broadcast tomorrow. Make sure you stay paying attention to that. All right. Rob Diesel with you here. It is the Rob Brown Show on ESPN Upstate. So it's smokes. Oh my gosh. Texter says, who the blank is Brendan Fraser? No, I'm not that's a troll.
That's an automatic block.
That's a troll.
That's an automatic block, that texter.
I've never blocked anybody on our text thread. People have said some awful things about me.
I have.
It's the first time I'm considering it. You know damn good and well who Brendan Fraser is. All right? It's a weak troll.
Airheads, man. The Mummy.
The Mummy 2.
Mummy 2.
The Mummy Returns. All the greats, man.
Yeah.
So it is smokescreen season in the National Football League, right?
Encino Man.
Keep them coming.
Bedazzled.
Oh, Elizabeth Hurley.
Yeah. I did like the.
She still got it, by the way.
I did. Did you watch Pam and Tommy on Hulu?
I did not.
They make a subtle reference. They're talking about her trying to get the role in Austin Powers. They said the James Bond spoof. They refer to it as the James Bond spoof. And then she doesn't get the part. She says, somebody named Elizabeth Hurley got it. And Tommy's like, who the F is Elizabeth Hurley?
That's funny. That's what that texter just said about Brendan Fraser. Texter says,
but at the time, nobody knew who Elizabeth Hurley was.
Texter says, I wasn't born in the 1930s, so I have no idea. Oh, God. All right. I will get through this segment if it kills me, and it might.
I just need to mute my own mic.
It is smokescreen season in the National Football League. It is the time of year where teams do their bestest to try to keep concealed what they want to do in the draft, right? You don't want the other teams to know what you plan on doing with your pick, especially in the first round, to prevent them from grabbing the guy that you want, to prevent somebody else from trading up ahead of you to get that guy. It's a point where teams do all the research on all the players, but they know who their 2 or 3 are. They know who the guys they want are in the upcoming draft. Well, the Carolina Panthers are, of course, not immune to playing that game with the rest of the NFL. But sometimes, even if you are trying to keep it quiet, sometimes you got to show your hand a little bit, right? Sometimes you got to show your hand a little bit. And yesterday, the Panthers did just that. Yesterday was pro day for the Pittsburgh Panthers. And, of course, the starting quarterback for the Pitt Panthers last year was Kenny Pickett. Now, Mr. Pickett is the guy that most mock draft experts have listed as the number 1 available quarterback in this draft. There are some dissenters, myself included, who believe that Malik Willis is the guy with the most upside in the league. But for the most part, McShay and others have Kenny Pickett as number 1. Well, yesterday was his pro day, and not surprisingly, 31 of 32 NFL teams had at least one representative there to watch Kenny Pickett's pro day. The Carolina Panthers, however, they sent the house, y'all. Matt Rule, the head coach, was there. Scott Fitterer, the general manager, was there. Dan Morgan, the assistant general manager, was there. Ben McAdoo, the offensive coordinator, was there. And Sean Ryan, the quarterback's coach, was there. And not only were the top 5 guys in the house there, alongside with a handful of other Panthers scouts and reps, but they made themselves very at home. Carolina head coach Matt Rule was seen repeatedly taking Pat Narduzzi, the head coach of the Pitt Panthers, off to the side to have one-on-one conversations with him, as did Scott Fitterer. Carolina head coach Matt Rule, offensive coordinator Ben McAdoo, and quarterbacks coach Sean Ryan, all repeatedly, both as individuals and as a group, took Kenny Pickett off to the side to have one-on-one conversations with him. And on top of that, apparently, they went so far as to have measurements done on Kenny Pickett. Remember, the big knock on Kenny Pickett coming into the draft was that he has small hands. We did did you do the hand measurement on the air, Diesel, where you measure the NFL style, the hand size from extended pinky to thumb?
We didn't do it on the air because I would assume that Mark Ryan would lie because he was not in studio. But I did it on my own at home, and I have tiny hands. I have little hands. My hands are smaller than Kenny Pickett's. I was going to say,
you were checking in. I'm guessing you checked in about 8 1/4.
Like 7 3/4.
Really?
Yeah, I got little hands.
You do have little hands. I checked in right next to Taysom Hill on the hand size chart. Anyway, the reports coming out of the draft were that Kenny Pickett had small hands. And for a quarterback, that's a problem, right? Because it's not just grip on the ball when you throw it to create that extra tightness in the spiral, but it's also if you've got the arm back and you get hit, if you got a small hand, it's harder to grip the ball and keep that ball from popping out if a DB or if a D lineman hits your arm while you've got it back and cocked to throw. So that was considered a big knock against Kenny Pickett. Yesterday, video came out of Matt Rule and Scott Fitterer, who were clearly there and only there for Kenny Pickett, taking Pickett off to the side, having one-on-one conversations with him, and going so far is to break out their own ruler to measure Kenny Pickett's hand size. Now, pro days are notoriously player-friendly, right? At a draft, the guy running the stopwatch on your shuttle drill is not going to clock it until he sees that you are definitely across the line. At a pro day, you're going to have a clock guy who is invested in you, who wants you to do well. So you might get the little advantage of an early click. Takes a tenth of a second off your 40 time, off your shuttle time, whatever. Kenny Pickett's hand size checked in larger at his pro day than they did at the combine. No surprise there. But that was not good enough for Matt Rule and Scott Fitterer, who brought their own schoolyard ruler to pro day to measure out Kenny Pickett's hand size. There's video of Pickett holding his hand out. And by the way, he's got a really double jointed thumb. Like his thumb goes up, down, and then back up. It's very weird. Anyway, there's video of Kenny Pickett showing his hand size to Matt Rule, and then Matt Rule bringing him over to Ben McAdoo and having him do the same thing for Ben so Ben can take a look at it. You don't, A, bring the house to Pittsburgh, and B, go through every little bit of minutia, including doing your own personal measurement of Kenny Pickett's hand size if you're not looking at that dude at 6 overall, right? I told you all about 6 weeks ago, I thought Malik Willis was the dude. I thought Malik is the guy Carolina's going in for. I think it's Kenny Pickett now, right? Kenny Pickett's name has been associated with higher and higher picks as we have gotten closer and closer to the draft at the end of next month. Kenny Pickett's name has been attached to more and more teams inside the top 10, top 12, top 15 picks. It started with the first quarterbacks coming off the board somewhere around 18 with the New Orleans Saints-ish. And now we're starting to see his name creep up to the 12th, the 11th, the 10th pick. Teams trading up into the top 10 to get him. Well, the Carolina Panthers, ladies and gentlemen, are the first team on the draft board that could use a quarterback, which means that either A, Kenny Pickett's their guy, or B, if somebody really wants to take him away from Carolina, they're going to have to trade up to that spot, or C, this is, and I acknowledge that it is possible, this is a smokescreen from Carolina, and they are trying to lure someone into trading up to that 6 overall pick to take him so that they can trade back later in the first round and still end up with Malik or Matt Corral, one or the other. I'm not sure which one is true. But I got to think if you're Matt Rule, you're looking quarterback. Jimmy Garoppolo, still available. A lot of Panthers fans out on Jimmy G. Baker Mayfield is not only now available, but he's going to come at a bargain price because remember, Bake wanted to trade out of C-Town before Deshaun Watson was even a Brown. He wanted out of Cleveland. He wanted out of Cleveland the minute that it was announced that Cleveland was going all in on Deshaun. He wanted out, but he wanted to trade to Indy. Well, Indy yesterday traded and got Matt Ryan, meaning that Baker is still on the team. Baker's got $18 million against the cap. The Browns have got to let go of Baker if they want to move on and get Deshaun officially signed. Baker's going to come at a value. Could he be the guy in Carolina? But the other rumor that's popping up right now, and this I saw on a couple of sites this morning during show prep, is that the Carolina Panthers, before they flew up to Pittsburgh to go to Pro Day and watch Kenny Pickett work out, had a phone call with Cam Newton. about bringing Cam back for one more run with the Panthers, one more year. I think if you see Cam Newton get signed to this team in the next 2 weeks, that they are drafting a quarterback. If you do not see Cam get signed by the Panthers in the next 2 weeks, I would keep an eye on Baker. I would keep an eye on Jimmy Garoppolo, because then you're looking for a guy with starter experience in the league. And they still may draft a quarterback even after that. But I can't imagine. Can't imagine they bring in a vet and draft a guy. Not with Matt Rule needing every piece he can, knowing his job is on the line. So, interesting development. Matt Ryan sent to Indy, which makes Baker more available at a better price because you're effectively out of teams looking for a quarterback outside of Carolina and Seattle at this point, right? Houston's good with Davis Mills. Pittsburgh's got their guy in Mitch Trubisky. San Francisco's got their guy. Green Bay's locked up Aaron Rodgers. It's basically Seattle and Carolina. The Saints signed Jameis Winston. It's basically Seattle and Carolina. So Baker's a deal, man. With Baker being a deal, what direction do you want to go if you are the Carolina Panthers? Is it Baker Mayfield? Could this be the humble up moment that a lot of us believe he needed to turn the corner on his career? Is it Bake? Is it Jimmy Garoppolo? Do you go get Jimmy G out of San Francisco? At this point, he's going to be a steal. San Francisco wants to unload him so they can move on to Trey Lance. Is he a possible steal? Or do you bring back Cam, draft Malik, and allow Malik a year of learning under Cam Newton? That's if Cam Newton wants to teach a guy, which he may or may not. Texas says, don't rule out Carolina taking an edge rusher in the first round. I'm not ruling it out. But I'm going to go, if they don't go quarterback, 90% chance they go offensive line, right? Whether it's Charles Cross or somebody else. If they don't go QB, offensive line is the pick. I'm almost guaranteeing it. All right, let's take a break. We'll talk more about that coming up later on in the show. My name is Rob Brown. Diesel is on the ones and twos. We got plenty more to talk about. Speaking of Matt Ryan in Atlanta, what does this mean for the Falcons? I got some thoughts on that. I'll share them when I come back on the Rob Brown Show at ESPN Upstate.
Back to you for QC Kinetics.
That's right. Say about my friends at QC Kinetics, ladies and gentlemen. I'll tell you the truth. 844-477-3776, 844-GSP-ESPN. Text us on the Preferred Home Services text line at 71307, 71307. Start your text with ESPN, and we will read them on the air. So, told you in the last break, the Panthers sent the full house up to Pittsburgh for Kenny Pickett's pro day. I think that's probably a lot for a smokescreen, right? That's probably a lot to try to bait other teams into trading up to 6 to make sure they get Kenny Pickett. If Ben McAdoo, the quarterback whisperer, I told you guys when McAdoo got hired, I thought this was the perfect scenario for the Panthers to draft a quarterback. Ben McAdoo has been, he was an average head coach with the Giants, phenomenal offensive coordinator for that. Does not get the credit he deserves. 2 consecutive years, he doubled up the Giants' offensive efficiency. I think they were 28th in the league when he took over, went up to 14th, and then the second year went up to like 7th. But he's been effectively a QB whisperer coming out of the draft. He has nailed calls, guys like Lamar. He tried to talk the Jets out of drafting Sam Darnold when he was a media rep in New York at the time. They didn't listen. How'd that go? I thought this was the perfect setup. The Panthers were putting themselves in a phenomenal position to draft a quarterback. And it looks like they may be interested in that now. All of this got triggered after Matt Ryan was traded out of Atlanta yesterday and sent up to Indianapolis. After 14 years in Atlanta, the Falcons decided to stop trying to work around Matt Ryan's contract and start moving toward the future. And that's fine. I mean, again, Matt Ryan was never the problem. If you want a hard rebuild, unless Matt Ryan said, I don't want to be a part of the hard rebuild, I don't know why you get rid of the guy, right? Oh, he's got a big contract. Of course he does. You know what happened when they sent Matt Ryan to Indy yesterday? How about a $40.525 million dead money cap hit? They are still on the books for $40.5 million of salary cap hit by trading Matt Ryan. Now, that's actually about $9 million less than would have been on the books if they kept him. But here's my question. After we went off the air yesterday, after Matt Ryan got traded to Indianapolis while we were on the air, the Atlanta Falcons signed Marcus Mariota to a 2-year contract. Does not mean that Marcus Mariota is the starting quarterback. There's still time. Atlanta could very well make a play for Baker Mayfield. Who knows? We'll find out. I can't imagine they gave him a 2-year contract with the amount of money that they did in order to bring him in to be a backup. But you never know. It is Atlanta. But Matt Ryan, 40.525 is the $9 million difference. And 9 against the cap's big, right? That opens up some room for a vet if you want to find a guy. But his consistent 4,000-yard-a-season passer, Matt Ryan, worth, and $9 million off the books, worth what Atlanta's going to have to go through. I don't know. Question mark. They sign Marcus Mariota, 2-year, I want to say it was like 18 mil, something like that, 20 mil, ballpark. I don't have it in front of me. That's a lot of money to take 9 mil off the books, right? And put that mil. So basically you're paying Marcus Mariota $9 million of what would have gone to Matt Ryan, plus another 9 for 2 years. It is a bridge, right? This is a bridge. This is a stopgap. Falcons fans, go ahead and prepare yourself. You are 2 years away now from being back in playoff contention. You lost Julio last year. You lost Ridley for next year because of the gambling setup. Like, you basically have Kyle Pitts as a weapon and Marcus Mariota as quarterback. It's good news for the Falcons, or excuse me, for the Panthers, right? So I think right now, honestly, the Panthers are closer to relevance than the Falcons are at this point. Just like that, closer to relevance. Don't understand why, like, this concept of a hard reset. I understand the franchise reboot. I get it. But you just gave up a 4,000 yard a year passer to save $9 million for what? Right? Does that $9 million off the cap save your roster to make you competitive next year? Hell no. So what's the move here? What's the point? What's the move here? I don't get it. I don't understand it. So like I said, the good news for Carolina is you are now closer to relevance than the Atlanta Falcons are. Marcus Mariota ain't it, all right? Like the guy, good kid, but he ain't it. Nice job, Atlanta. Way to go. Back after this on the Rob Brown Show to wrap up hour number 1. This is ESPN Upstate. Have fun. I have to tinkle.
Partial sunshine develops this afternoon, high around 72. Tonight, a chance for rain late, cloudy, low near 57. Wednesday, chance for showers and thunderstorms, cloudy skies, a high around 70. Thursday, slight chance for rain showers, a high 69. I'm meteorologist Jennifer Blucheats on ESPN Upstate. Currently, it's 69.
Finding great candidates to hire can be like, well, trying to find a needle in a haystack. Sure, you can post your job to some job board, but then all you can do is hope the right person comes along, which is what...
Steven, welcome in, buddy. Good to have you back, pal. Appreciate you popping by. Skrilla, what's up, my guy? Good to see you, partner. Appreciate you popping in. Nolan, you're a good man. Thank you, buddy. Appreciate you coming by. Yeah, we may have to change the lunch breakdown to the brunch breakdown. I like that, Keegan. You may have just come up with a segment there for me, buddy.
The smartest way to hire. And now you can try ZipRecruiter for free. That's right, free at ZipRecruiter.com/hire. That's ZipRecruiter.com/hire. ZipRecruiter.com/hire.
Golfers, the best upstate deal on golf is back and on sale now. The 2022 Upstate Golf Card gets you a round of golf at 10 premier upstate courses, and it's still only $99. Grab your foursome and get your Upstate Golf Cards now to play courses including The Rock, Greer Golf, Pebble Creek, the Club at Brookstone, Rolling Green, and more. Order at upstategolfcard.com. 10 rounds of golf for only $99. UpstateGolfCard.com. UpstateGolfCard.com.
SC Works has the state's largest database. But did you know that SC Works also provides services to help you land a job? SC Works professionals can review your resume, prepare you for interviews, provide education and training opportunities, and more. Visit scworks.org/jobs to locate a center near you and take the next step towards finding employment. Sponsored by SC Works.
Mike, welcome in, buddy. Good to have you. Appreciate you popping by. Howdy, Steven. Thanks for coming by, man. Great to have you. Appreciate you hanging out.
Sponsored by BioNTech and Pfizer. Your local pharmacy may be a convenient place to get your family's vaccines and boosters. While you're there, talk to your pharmacist about Comirnaty, COVID-19 vaccine.
Cerise Pharmacy can't keep up with allergy season. They need certified technicians.
Neither can I.
to alleviate the headache. Indeed can help them hire great people fast.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. Instantly connects you with quality candidates whose resumes on Indeed match your sponsored job description. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get $75 towards your first sponsored job. Terms and conditions apply.
You may be into punk rock, soft rock, or classic rock, R&B, hip hop, or house, country, techno, or techno country. But no matter what kind of music you listen to, here's something else you should hear. Please consider getting vaccinated. Talk to your pharmacist today about Comirnaty, COVID-19 vaccine mRNA. This message brought to you by BioNTech and Pfizer.
Texter on the Preferred Home Services text line says, ESPN, I bet Baker goes to Atlanta. I don't know, man. It's a decent size contract to sign with Marcus Mariota to make him a backup to Baker Mayfield, unless you're going to make Baker Mayfield a backup to him. But, look, you a Baker guy at all? I'm a Baker guy. Fair enough. I know a lot of people feel that way. Baker's got just that right amount of rebel without a cause in him that I like it, right? Same reason I like Johnny Manziel in college. Just that right amount of devil be damned attitude to him, right? Sometimes you got to humble up a little bit. I think what happened in Cleveland will humble Baker up just a little bit. Baker thought he was going to be Houston's savior, and it did not go great for him. I'm hoping this move humbles him up just a little bit. We'll find out. But I don't know that you can bring in Marcus Mariota with the contract that you gave Marcus Mariota to put Baker on staff. ESPN, Marcus's contract is only $6.5 million guaranteed, right? But, and look, again, I've told you guys, I'm not going to lie to you. Salary caps aren't real, all right? I mean, they're real in that they exist. But a good GM knows how to finagle around those things. Good GM knows how to work around those things. That's why a good GM is pivotal. Mickey Loomis in New Orleans has done a great job. Part of the reason that I was not super thrilled when Terry Fontenot, who trained under Mickey Loomis, went to Atlanta. I'm like, all right, well, now they're going to have the same advantage we do as a Saints fan. But his salary cap hit is not $6.5 million. It's going to be higher than that. Even still, is Marcus Mariota your backup, right? Are you bringing Marcus Mariota in to back up Baker Mayfield? I don't know if you can. Don't know if you can. So I don't know what the future holds. I mean, it's a possibility, but I can also tell you that Baker's going to try to get traded somewhere he's a starter. Seattle? I think he'd be a great fit in Seattle. That's, to me, the most likely outcome. But we'll see. We'll talk more about it later on in the show. I'm Rob. He's Diesel. The Rob Brown Show's got 2 more hours, and they start next right here on ESPN Upstate. Yeah, Diesel's on the struggle bus over there, Skrilla. Diesel is on the struggle bus.
This has not been a fun day for me, guys.
Number one, he can't say no to changes. Number two, he's out all the time injured, and they add a star, and he's not even calling the star, CJ McCollum, to welcome him to the city. I'm very disappointed in Zion Williamson. And I'm not the only one. It's time to ask a very honest and open question. Is Zion Williamson a bust? That might sound crazy to you, right? And I don't know how anybody could say, especially when confronted with what John Morant is doing, I don't know how anybody could argue that Zion Williamson is not trending in the bust direction.
The Upstate is talking about Offsides with Mark Reagan. Now, 3 to 7 p.m. on ESPN Upstate.
AutomotiveMap.com presents the Sports Flash on ESPN Upstate. College Hoops Monday at the CBI. UNC Wilmington advanced with a 76-75 win over Drake. Northern Colorado eliminated UNC Asheville 87-84. At the Basketball Classic, Coastal Carolina advanced 84-68 over Florida Gulf Coast. South Alabama eliminated South Carolina Upstate 83-79. NHL tonight, the Hurricanes look to snap a 4-game skid when they host the Lightning. NBA on Monday, the Hornets beat the Pelicans 106-103. Charlotte with wins in 5 straight. They're 9th in the East, 10 games out of first place. Terry Rozier and LaMelo Ball with 17 points each. Miles Bridges had 16. Mason Plumlee with a double-double. The Pelicans got 27 points from C.J. McCollum. Jonas Valanciunas, 24 points, 18 rebounds. Next up for the Hornets, Wednesday night's home matchup against the Knicks. The Pelicans host the Bulls on Thursday night. ESPN Upstate is your home for play-by-play of Furman Paladins basketball and football. That's the Sports Flash. I'm Chuck Sanders on ESPN Upstate.
And check this out. The official Rob Brown Lockdown. Represents freedom, yeah. Free, unfiltered sports talk manufactured locally for the Carolinas. Lockdown! This is the Rob Brown Show. Yeah, only on ESPN.
Let's get it. Hour number 2 of the Rob Brown Show goes now. What is up, upstate South Carolina? Hello, America. Hello, world. It is great to be back with you. I am Rob Brown. The great one, Lonzo's out until Monday. Diesel, the D-Train, the basiest executive producer in all the land, over on the other side of the glass. Are you making it, sir?
It's about family.
I want to go look through the wave file of that part later. It's just going to be just
one down spike.
Yeah. Diesel bringing the heat and getting interested in the show, the ladies of the upstate with that voice, y'all. Can I talk for just a second about Zion? I heard Mark Ryan's promo during that break about Zion and how Zion is trending towards earning the label of draft bust, right? Zion picked 3 years ago, was the number one overall pick for the New Orleans Pelicans. Missed most of his first year, got some time in the second year, has been out, and yesterday announced that Zion Williamson will not return this year for the Pelicans. There was hope, as the Pels, by the way, are the 9 seed. They're in a play-in spot right now. The Pelicans are a playoff team right now. Not a top seed one, but they're in a playoff
team without him.
Without Zion. How much better would they be with Zion? Question mark, right? We don't know. They could beat the Lakers right now if Zion's healthy and playing as well as he's played in the past.
I'm pretty sure St. Peter's could beat the Lakers.
You might not be wrong. I like how mad Russell Westbrook is that everybody's calling him Russell Westbrook when he's going out and going like 3 of 20 from the floor. Amazing.
You shouldn't call me something that's accurate for the way that I'm playing right now. Triggered.
So Zion is out for this season for the Pelicans. Next year is the final year on the rookie contract of Zion Williamson. After that, he's eligible for an extension and eligible for a max contract. Somebody asked yesterday, if you're the Pelicans, right? Are you putting Zion or on a max contract? And the answer is I don't know. Here's the problem I have. With the amount of moves that we've seen out of Zion, both on the court in the last couple of years and this year, while he's been away from the team, it's relatively evident that Zion does not want to play in New Orleans, right? He wants out. And why wouldn't he? It's like every damn day I turn on ESPN or whatever sports network's on the TV, and every day I hear the talking heads go, the Pelicans should just give Zion to the Knicks. Just give him to the Lakers. Just give him to the Clippers. Give him to the Bulls. Give him to the Celtics. Just every day. And basically, I can't help but think, scratch that. I can't help but take that as Stephen A. Smith and the rest of the talking heads, Colin Cowherd and the rest of the talking heads, looking at me personally as a Pelicans fan and going, right there, buddy, that's what your team's worth. You are number 11 using both middle fingers, pal. You don't deserve a team. You don't deserve a player. Why not just make the NBA a 5-team league, right? Boston, the 2 teams in New York, the 2 teams in LA and Chicago, 6-team league. Chicago gets a team, LA gets 2, New York gets 2, and Boston gets 1. And that's it. Why even have anybody else in the league, right? Because you're at the point now where the only way to win is to be a big market. Or, if you are a small market, to find the 1 in a million player that is Giannis Antetokounmpo, who goes, I don't really give a damn about being in a big market. I want to play and win for a basketball team that wants to play and win around me. Milwaukee went all in on Giannis. Giannis, from what I can tell, doesn't really care about the shoes and the marketing. I'm looking yesterday, and I'm watching one of the sports shows, and a segment, Diesel, I could not have written this better in a script. The segment, after one of the talking heads gets done ripping the Lakers for being bad, ripping Russell Westbrook for contributing to that, the segment after that happens, they click over to commercials, and here's a commercial going, my name is Russell Westbrook, And I'm trying to inspire my community through fashion. And that's why I started this fashion line, Chase the Dream or whatever it's called. Right? Like LA's, by going to LA, Russell Westbrook started a fashion line and is now making money off of that. So if you're in the game for the money, as the Monstars once said, you win it for the money or in it for the game, MJ. 23 ways to make you pay. That's a Space Jam reference. If you're in it for the money, yeah, you want to be in LA, you want to be in New York, you want to be in Chicago, you want to be in Boston. That's it. New Orleans was ready to make Zion. This, by the way, this is not a New Orleans Pelicans segment. This is the NBA has a problem segment. If you want to win as Miami, as New Orleans, Dallas, Milwaukee, now, Dallas is on the cusp of being into that upper echelon markets. But if you want to be in that region, in that atmosphere, you got one of two ways to do it. You either got to figure out how to pay 3 superstars and create a super team like the Heat did with Braun, Wade, and Bosch a few years back, like Boston did with the original Big Three, or you got to find the diamond in the rough that is Giannis Antetokounmpo, who goes, I don't care about the money and the fame. I just want to win basketball games in a program and a franchise that builds around me like the Bucks have done for him. And even if you are willing to do that, it doesn't mean the guy wants to stay. I can't say I am convinced that I know this is happening. But there's a chunk of Rob Brown that thoroughly believes Zion could play this year, but Zion is drawing out his rehab because the longer he stays away from the Pelicans, the longer he doesn't play for the Pelicans, the easier it is going to be for the Pelicans next year to go, you know what? We love you. We put your face up on every intersection in this town. We wanted to make you the future. We wanted to give you everything Cleveland gave LeBron back in the day, but you have played 45 games in 3 seasons. We can't justify it. We got to let you go.
It's almost as if telling an entire generation, it's all about your brand, your brand, your brand. You got to enhance your brand. You got to make money off your brand. You got to build your brand, creates a generation of narcissists. It's incredible how that happens when we've said it's all about you and how important you are and how big you can be. He doesn't care about his team. He wants to James Harden his way out of New Orleans. And this, look, I know people will argue till they're blue in the face. The NBA is growing. It's getting bigger, man. It's so good on Twitter. You see how many times we see highlights of NBA games on Twitter? Ain't it great? The old fans are saying, screw this game, screw the mentality of the players, screw the teams, screw the league, I'm out. And if you do everything you possibly can to capture the fair weather new fans, they're going to go somewhere else as soon as they get bored. That's what fair weather fans do. They like the NBA for a little while. They're into it. They're hardcore for a little while. Then they move on. And you got League Baseball and the old hat fans who are holding the league back. And in a way, I think you're absolutely right. Those core fans don't go anywhere. They weather the storms and they stay with it because they love the game. There will be the fan, the Twitter fan, who follows a player because they like the player, they like the cut of his jib, but all it takes is him saying one wrong thing on Twitter, and all of a sudden, poof, I'm out. I don't like him anymore. I'm gone. That's all it takes. And that's why the NBA is a damn house of cards right now, because it is a generation of...
So I want to respond to 3 points you made there. I'll start with the first one. The concept of entitled narcissist basketball players. You are right for a lot of them. But here's the other aspect of that. For so many years, I'm going to say athletes, but this is really true of everybody, right? For so many years, we were all told you don't matter. The entity you work for is what matters, right? You are irrelevant. You are a cog in the machine, and the important is the success of the machine, right? But for so many years, even in athletics, and even though these guys get paid exponentially more than we do, when profits for the machine rise and rise and rise and rise, but profits for the cogs that make the machine go don't, there comes a point when the cogs go, I'm not doing this anymore. Especially when those pieces know that they are capable of making their own money and probably making more of it down the line, right? If you work for a company for 5 years and they never give you a raise, even though they go out and brag to their shareholders about how much more money they're making, at some point you go, I'm going to do it my way. I'm going to go do my own thing. The second thing is, even if we never said that to basketball players or any other athletes, once you figure out that I can do a side hustle and make a little extra money, and then eventually that side hustle becomes not just sustainable resources, supplemental resources, but it becomes as valuable to you as your actual job, of course you're going to put time, energy, effort into it. And of course you want to be in front of the largest audience. We talked yesterday about social media followers and how if you want to do anything that requires a public eye, a large social media following is effectively necessary at this point. It's not optional. You got to have it now, right? They're on our asses every day to build our social media following because it's important. I can't get mad at guys going, you know what, I'll probably pick up more fans if I'm in LA, where the Lakers are going to spend exponentially more money and my face is going to be on national TV broadcast. I said in a tweet yesterday, I said effectively, all of this is a double middle finger to the city of New Orleans. Enjoy your 2 more years with Brandon Ingram toiling away in the nice seat in the West, maybe making a playing game, and enjoy watching your team in your 4 nationally televised games per year when you're getting your ass kicked by Zion and the Lakers, right? Because that's just how it works. Now, brings me to the second point. As far as old hat fans, like, fans that follow players instead of teams. You are absolutely correct on that, Diesel, but I don't blame the players. You know who I blame? The NBA. Because the NBA, for years now, has not advertised teams. They don't advertise, watch the Celtics and the Lakers this weekend. What's the advertisement? It's LeBron James and Jason Tatum coming up Thursday, right? They advertise players. And so you've created a culture of new NBA fans that you're right, they don't affiliate with a team. They affiliate with players because the NBA for decades now has hyped, not teams, but hyped players. They hyped LeBron. They hyped Steph Curry. How many how many Golden State Warrior fans do you see out there that are genuinely Warrior fans versus are fans of Steph and Draymond? I bet you the majority outside of San Francisco aren't Warriors fans. They're Steph and Draymond fans. They're super team fans, right? How many Lakers fans are genuinely Lakers fans? I bet you a lot, maybe not the majority because the Lakers obviously are an established historical franchise, but I bet you a hell of a lot of Lakers fans you see rolling around, they're not Lakers fans, they're LeBron fans, and that's just the jersey LeBron's wearing. The NBA has hyped players over teams. And fans have bought into that. Fans are now fans of players, not teams. But the problem you create with that is that the players recognize that. Zion recognizes that the Pelicans have a core group of Pelicans fans. I'm one. I've been a fan since the Chris Paul Hornets days, all right? I'm a Pelicans fan. I won't follow Zion to the Knicks. In fact, I will hate on the Knicks harder if Zion weasels his way out of New Orleans and goes there. But because the NBA has created this culture where we follow the players and not the teams, Zion knows if I go to New York, about 80% of the people who want to watch me in New Orleans are going to be Knicks fans because they're not Knicks fans, they're Zion fans. He knows that. So he's going to eke out this rehab, which, by the way, at this point, there were so many reports, hey, Zion could be playing by the play-in tournament, right? Zion could be ready. Now, all of a sudden, he won't be ready. Oh, and by the way, the Pelicans doctors aren't looking at him. Zion's team won't let it happen, right? They're just getting secondhand reports and making their diagnosis on the secondhand reports. Now, all of a sudden, he can't play this year. Now, what's going to be interesting, Diesel, is this. Next year is Zion's last year on a rookie contract with the Pelicans. Zion has to play, I believe, he has to start 45 games to be labeled as a starter for the Pelicans. in order to get the max contract that he can get. If he starts less than 45 games next year, he takes a hit of $10 million off the biggest contract he can earn the next year, regardless of where he plays. $10 million he loses. I bet you Zion plays 45 games next year. I bet you he plays 45 and then he goes, ouch, my knees. Ouch, my foot. Sorry, coach, I'm out for the year. My bad. Thanks for those 45 games. Had a good time. See you on TV.
So you've just said a lot of words that justify why these guys are not. You have convinced me that they're not. So everything that I said still rings true. They are. It is a league populated. Not all. Again, I'm not making a blanket statement. I'm making a statement about. But it is who think about themselves and themselves only.
Well, let's
look. Do you want?
That's true of everybody in any line of entertainment. If you are in entertainment, you are a narcissist. You almost have to be, right? I've said this. I'll say it about myself. Am I a narcissist? A mild one, but yes. Because I have to get into this studio every day, and I have to believe, not think, not try to, I have to believe that I can click this button right here and for 3 hours be entertaining enough that people go, I am going to take time out of my life to listen to that guy. Be funny or outrageous or entertaining or whatever adjective you want to call me. I have to believe that, because the day that you come in here and you don't believe you're good enough to do this, we've all seen what happens to that guy. He flames out, disappears, and is jobless. If you are doing that on a rock station, a country station, a sports station, if you are in a band, if you are in the movies, you're on TV, it doesn't matter. You have to believe I am good enough that people want to give me money to just be me. To just be me. We're all narcissists, and we're all looking for as much money as we can get out of it. I love this station, Diesel. I genuinely love this station. I like the people I work with. I like the people I work for. I like the job. I like the show. I like the community. I like the sports community. I love this job. But Diesel, if ESPN calls me tomorrow and offers me $1 million salary to come to Bristol and work for ESPN, y'all won't never see me again. And it's not because I don't love you. I do. I love this place. But we do what we do for money. And if I can get more, significantly more going somewhere, like, I'm not, listen, somebody calls me right now and goes, we want you to come up to Fargo, North Dakota. We'll pay you $20,000 more a year. I ain't taking it. I got no interest. It's a lot of money, but I don't want to live in Fargo.
I had a friend who worked in Fargo in radio. She said it was great for the first 3 months because she moved there in May.
Yeah.
Said it was great for 3 months, and then it
Fargo.
sucked.
Yeah, exactly. I'm not going to Fargo for $30,000 more a year. I'm not doing it. But if somebody called me and said, hey, Miami Beach has a job opening for a midday host and they're going to pay you $200,000 a year, I'm taking the gig. It's not that I love this place. You guys have seen how invested I am in this community. We all do our jobs for money. Nobody works for free. If you do it for free, it's a hobby, not a job. So I can't get mad at Zion because he's got an opportunity to go to let me rephrase that. I can get mad because I think he's weaseling his way there.
I can totally get mad for that.
If you're going to play your 4 years on the rookie contract and then go to New York, I respect that. Chris Paul did it that way. I'm fine with that. He busted his ass. He got the Pels into the playoffs multiple times. He did the best he could, and then he moved on. If you're going to weasel your way out by, I'm hurt, coach, by faking sick days over and over to miss out on work until you get the next opportunity, yeah, I get mad at that. I think it's a cheap way out. I think you play your contract out. And when your contract's up, if you go, I can get $30 million more a year in New York, go ahead, young man. I do the same thing. I get it. But with the NBA building players and not teams, you have created an NBA where unless you get a 1 in a million guy like Giannis to throw a wrench into the machine, there's no parity in the league. It's going to be LA. It's going to be New York. It's going to be Chicago. It's going to be Boston over and over and over. Maybe occasionally a Philly, another giant market will jump up and get there, but it's going to be the classic teams in big markets because guys like Zion and guys like Anthony Davis, once they hit their rookie numbers, go, I'm going to the big market. I want the money. And until you find a way as the NBA to limit that, to go, and I know it's a collective bargaining agreement thing, so it's not like you just snap your fingers and it's fixed. But until you find a way to make it where there are incentives for guys like Zion to stay in New Orleans, until you make an incentive for those guys to stay longer than their 4 years on a rookie contract, teams like New Orleans are going to get a year or two of great play out of a rookie and then move on. Maybe Ja Morant's in that group. Maybe Ja's going to be like Giannis and go, I love Memphis. I know it's a small market, but I like the city. I like the place. I like the teams building around me. I'm going to stay in Memphis and make my money. And I respect the hell out of him if he does. But if at the end of his rookie contract in 2 years, Ja goes, yo, Knicks, how you doing? You up? It is what it is. And Memphis does like New Orleans and goes right back into obscurity until the next time they suck enough to get a number one pick, bring him in, be mediocre for 4 years, and go back to the bottom of the barrel. And until the NBA fixes it, this is the system we get. And guys like me as a Pelicans fan are going to watch my team suck, then suck worse, then draft the number one overall, then be okay for 3 years, and then suck again. Giannis broke the mold because he wants to be there, but he is the way exception, not the rule. And it's a problem.
ESPN Upstate.
I'm not going to straight up accuse Zion of drawing out this injury to not play in New Orleans. But every report we had 6 weeks ago was Zion's getting ready to make his return. Zion's on the way back. And now all of a sudden he's out for the year. And he needs to play 45 next year to earn a max contract. Betcha he does. Betcha he does. What else do I have to believe?
Texter says, Rob, be careful yelling at Diesel. He's not feeling well. He might react violently. Don't worry, Texter. I don't see Rob as a threat.
You know what, Diesel? You're right. All right, 844-GSP ESPN, 844-477-3076. Wes, hold the line. We got to run to a break. We'll come back here in just a minute. We'll take your call. Anybody else? Thoughts on Zion? Thoughts on the NBA? I think the NBA's broken itself by promoting players more than anything else. And Zion is going to kill the Pelicans because of it. Back after this on the Rob Brown Show, ESPN Upstate.
Prisma Health.
Tell you about my friends at Prisma Health right here in the Upstate. Prisma Health, the official healthcare provider of both the Clemson Tigers and the Gamecocks of South Carolina. Why? Because at the end of the day, ladies and gentlemen, the most important thing to those two organizations And we're back. What's up, Ben? Welcome in, buddy. Happy Tuesday to you, pal.
Oh, we lost Wes.
Well, that's a bummer. We were already at like 24. I didn't want to take a call and have us.
Visit us at patriotsoftware.com. That's patriotsoftware.com. Patriotsoftware.com. Accounting and payroll. Keep your time and money. You could say integrity, but you're all about all progressive. But when you just come out and sing it, it feels like it pulls a bit flat. So we're going to sing it. We're singing words now. Wait, sing your business part.
Straight Talk Wireless now has the new iPhone 13 cinematic mode, which lets you focus on what matters. And with Straight Talk, you can focus on getting the best deal. Our Silver Unlimited plan is $45 a month for unlimited talk, text, and data. And it runs on the largest, most dependable networks, now with nationwide 5G. With the iPhone 13 on Straight Talk, you can share whatever you want, wherever you want. Straight Talk Wireless. 5G capable device required. Actual availability, coverage, and speed may vary. See terms and conditions at straighttalk.com.
Prescription drugs require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if prescriptions appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for full details and safety information. Subscription required. Refundable for 60 days after purchase.
Hey guys, did you know there's a generic form of Viagra that works just the same, but is 90% cheaper? And you can get it online. Just go to 4hims.com/free. You'll get a free medical consultation, discreet shipping if prescribed, a 100% online process, and trusted generic alternatives to the biggest brands at 90% off. That's right, get generic for Viagra. The same active ingredient as brand name Viagra, but 90% cheaper. It's the same medication you get from your doctor, but with zero copay, no expensive appointments, and no awkward face-to-face conversations. The results are guaranteed or your money back. To start your free
I may have to mute mute my mic and turn my camera off during this segment of engineering, and you're trying to figure this out.
Yeah, that's fine. Well, you can't mute your mic.
I can take my mic out of utility so they can't hear me.
Yes, you can do that.
Or can I not mute it from the screen here? I can mute it from the screen, can I? Or do you have to do it?
No, so your mic will stay on. Just take yours out of utility because my mic still comes through you. So they should still be able to hear me, but not you.
Bill by switching to Straight Talk Wireless, now offering our $45 Silver Unlimited plan with 5 gigabytes of hotspot and nationwide 5G on America's largest, most dependable networks. The $45 Silver Unlimited plan from Straight Talk. Straight Talk Wireless. No contract, no compromise. Unlimited plus 30 days. See terms and conditions at straighttalk.com. 5G capable device required. Actual availability, coverage, and speed may vary.
All right, Wes, if you want to give us a call back, I'll move you to the front of the line. Sorry about that. We were off the clock. Everybody else, phone lines open, 844-477-3776, 844-GSP, ESPN. I'm going to grab this real quick because I want Diesel's thoughts on it. I know we're getting some production help here in a minute, but I want Diesel's thoughts on this before we get there. There has been an outcry after Arizona, the Wildcats of Zona U, knocked off TCU, the Horned Frogs, in the second round of the March Madness tournament. There were some TCU fans that got all up in their feels because after the game was over, Diesel, the Arizona players went across the court, and instead of celebrating, a large number of them went over to the TCU section and started waving goodbye at the fans. started waving goodbye instead of celebrating.
Okay.
And the TCU fans were all up in arms, including the Frogs O' War Twitter handle, which is the Barstool account for TCU. That said, or excuse me, the SB Nation, I believe, website for TCU said, quote, rather than celebrating with their team and bench, Wildcat players immediately ran over to the TCU fan base, waving goodbye and blowing kisses. One team walked away with a W, but the other walked away with dignity, end quote. Now, I looked at that, and I initially had the reaction of, yeah, I mean, all right, it's not like the coolest thing in the world, except for then I remembered that during that game, at one point, the TCU side was very loudly chanting. After TCU took the lead from Zona late in the game, they started chanting at the Arizona Wildcats, overrated, and did not come off that chant for a while. So after the overrated chant, when Zona finished and down TCU, the Wildcat players were waving hasta luego to the TCU fans. The TCU fans are all up in their feels about it. Who's the bad guy here, Diesel?
Isn't there a thing that like fans sing at an opponent when they're beating them and the game is over and it's decided? Na 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 na, na 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 na, hey hey hey, goodbye.
I believe that
fans
happens.
have sung that song at opposing teams and opposing fans for years. So TCU fans, I'm only going to say this to you once. Sack up.
So here's the thing. You know, I'm a sportsmanship guy, right? Like, I think it's important to remember it's just a game sometimes. It's just a game. In the grand scheme of your life, none of this matters. I love that it matters enough to us in life that, you know, I have a job because of it. Big fan of that. But in the grand scheme of things, it doesn't matter, right? Like, those are people. Those are people that are playing the sports you love. Here's the thing. Don't expect for the other team not to throw trash at you after the game when you throw trash at them during the game. When TCU's sideline is hitting Zona with the very loud chants of overrated, then don't be mad when the team that you repeatedly and loudly called overrated to their face comes over and blows you a goodnight kiss. Don't get mad at it, right? That's it. The thing about sportsmanship is it's got to go both ways, right? Now, sure, take the high road. You know, we all say it all the time. Take the high road. When they go low, we go high. But I got news for you. Because of what I just said, sports don't matter in the grand scheme of things. 5 years from now, none of those TCU fans are still, well, very, very few of those TCU fans are still going to be up in their feels because the Wildcat players blew them a kiss, just like the Arizona players didn't care as soon as that final buzzer hit at the end of OT that the TCU fans were calling them overrated. If you are going to drop an overrated chant on the other team, then when the other team blasts you, don't be mad. Don't be mad. You asked for it, dog. You asked for it. Get out your feels and eat your crow.
I thought people from Texas were supposed to be tough. I thought people from Texas were supposed to be above things like, they said something that hurt my feelings. I need an apology. You know, used to be, you didn't mess with Texas. Now, apparently, people in Texas too much pansies to do anything about it. And they're so weak that somebody waving at them goodbye makes them feel like they can take to social media to achieve what? An apology?
Do
they want to be placed back into the tournament because the mean Arizona Wildcats waved at them? Boo.
Don't mess with Texas, sis feelings, because they get hurt easily. All right? Just don't do it. Let's take a break. Joe Giglio of BetQL going to join us in the next segment. We'll give you your Sweet 16 betting guide when we come back on the Rob Brown Show on ESPN Upstate.
mean, obviously some surprises. I wish I was on St. Peter's beforehand, but no, it was a fun first weekend, and looking forward to what's coming up now this weekend.
All right, let's jump into it. First and foremost, were there any trends that jumped out at you from the first 2 rounds that you might look to play on in round number 3, and vice versa? Was there anything that carried through rounds 1 and 2 that, courtesy of matchups or location and venue changes or whatever, you aren't looking to play in round 3?
Yeah, what stood out the first couple rounds here is underdogs did pretty well. Underdogs did great in the first half of games, especially big underdogs. Whether they won or not. St. Peter's, Colgate. 15s, 14s, even some 16s in that first round. First half was the play. They were in those games, and then the better team kind of ran away. Same thing Gonzaga, Memphis in round 2. So that was one that stood out. And the other thing with the underdog is the first to 15. You can find that at some books. First team to get to 15 points. That one was good for the underdogs too. So it felt like the lower seeds, the teams that weren't supposed to be there, they got off to good starts. And in some of the games, it's not going to surprise me if with 10 minutes to go, this is, let's say an 8-point game, and you're kind of hanging in the balance, see if they're going to cover or not.
We're talking to Joe Giglio of BetQL. You can hear his work hosting BetQL daily on the Odyssey Podcasting Network. Go to espnupstate.com and you can access that through our website. I watched that we had the games down here in Greenville, including Duke and Michigan State. And, what I see on the court, Joe, is for me as an analyst is usually what impacts what I do with betting lines. And Duke jumped from a team that I thought in the first round was maybe a little bit overrated as a 2 seed. I thought maybe they should have switched with a couple of different 3 or 4 seeds. And then they came out and they took Michigan State's best shot on the chin. And even though State took the lead from Duke with a handful of minutes left, it got to a point, Joe, where I looked at Duke and thought, this is a pretty daggum good team and has a relatively favorable draw coming ahead of them between them and the Final Four. I like Duke a lot the rest of the way. Was that an anomaly because Duke got up for K's last game against Izzo? Or have you seen something out of Duke that maybe makes them a bet you want to play?
Yeah, Duke is interesting. I mean, I think the game against Texas Tech here is really going to come down to the whistles. I mean, Texas Tech plays incredible defense, and they play physical defense. I mean, are they going to let them play? If they do, it would not surprise me at all if Texas Tech beats Duke. But if Duke's at the free throw line, if they're in the bonus early in the game, it's going to be a Duke game. So that's one you might wait to watch and bet it live. Just watch how those whistles are going. If it's ticky-tacky, it's trouble for Texas Tech, and that plays right into Duke's hands.
We're talking to Joe Giglio of BetQL and BetQL.com as we get set for our Sweet 16 matchups. We have seen Gonzaga get into a couple of games that made them uncomfortable. We have seen Kansas in a game that made them uncomfortable. We saw Arizona in a game that makes them uncomfortable against TCU the other night. The 1 seeds are not acting dominant in this tournament at all, Joe Giglio. Does that maybe look like you can play an upset bid, or certainly if maybe one of them catches a bigger line than we expect? Are you keeping your eye on those teams?
I missed what you said. Can you repeat it again? I couldn't hear the beginning of it.
Yeah, no worries. So the 1 seeds, all of them have been in games that have made them uncomfortable. Kansas, Arizona, Gonzaga, all have been in games that have been closer than they like, made them uncomfortable. When you see a 1 team that has an uncomfortable game, for some of them 2 uncomfortable games, does there come a point where you look at fading that team or just taking a straight money line against them when they come up against a team like, for instance, Arkansas, a very interesting team against a Gonzaga team that needed every bit of 40 to get by a 16 seed? Does there come a point based on the favorites not being dominant that you look at them as, a team to bet against?
Yeah, I'm going to do it in the Arizona game. I mean, you go to Sunday night and what happened there. I mean, Sunday night, Arizona needed overtime to beat TCU, and you look at what Houston's accomplished so far in this tournament. They've been there. They've been a team that goes deep in the tournament almost year after year. Kelvin Sampson is an excellent head coach. And I'm looking at the game this weekend. I mean, Houston is only a 1.5-point underdog. I mean, that's one where I think the money line is the way to play it, because I think Houston has enough to beat the Arizona Wildcats and knock them out and get to an Elite Eight. I think that's one where you could find the value. And instead of just taking the 1.5, I would just take Houston on the money line.
Joe Giglio of BetQL joining us here on the Rob Brown Show and ESPN Upstate. All right, Joe, we got about a minute left. Sweet 16 obviously upcoming. Give me some of the plays you're really interested in for this round.
Well, I just mentioned Houston. I like them this week. I think Villanova, you can find it at -4.5, is the right side of that game. I think this is where Michigan's run ends. Villanova, a veteran-laden team with all that great guard play. I think they will find a way to get by, and they're a great free throw shooting team. So I think if the game is within 5 or 6 late, Villanova will hit their free throws to cover you if you're laying the number. So I would take Houston on the money line. I like Villanova minus the points, assuming it stays in that 4.5, 5.5 range. Anything bigger than that, you might look to the other side. And then, I look at Miami, a team that, and Rob, I really think this is changing the landscape of college basketball. It used to be the team that had the seniors, the team that had the older players. You didn't really want them, because why do they have those guys? They're not that talented, right? You'd rather the team with the 18-year-old freshman phenom, the way Calipari built it for years, Kentucky. That was the more talented team. Well, look what happened a couple nights ago when Miami took out Auburn. Jabari Smith might be the number 1 pick in the draft, but the transfer rule in college basketball has changed things. The average age of Miami's starting lineup is 23 years old. Like, if you have 18-year-olds on one team, 23 on the other, I'm really worried about the talent discrepancy. We're talking about men versus kids. I mean, Miami they're grown-ups, and they play like it. I think they will beat Iowa State, and I wouldn't be surprised if they gave Kansas a real fight in the Elite Eight. That's a very good, very well-coached Miami team. I would lay the 2.5 with them. So I take Houston on the money line, and I would lay it with Villanova and Miami coming up this weekend.
We're talking to Joe Giglio. He is the host of BetQL Daily. You can find his work at BetQL.com and on the Odyssey Podcast Network. He joins us every Tuesday to give us his bets of the week. Joe, my man, always a privilege, buddy. Next time we talk, we'll be into the Elite Eight and Final Four. Things will get spicy, man. Appreciate it.
You got it. Talk then.
You got it. That is Joe Giglio of BetQL at BetQL.com and BetQL Daily on the Odyssey Podcasting Network. We're back after this to wrap up hour number 2 on the Rob Brown Show at ESPN Upstate. All right, kids, 2 hours in the books. If you have not heard yet, we'll be on tomorrow at a special time for a major announcement. That is going to be 9 a.m. tomorrow. The show tomorrow moving to a special time for a huge announcement. We're going to go from 9 till noon tomorrow. So if you are a fan of the Rob Brown Show, of which there are literally at least a dozen of you.
Millions.
10 millions! You're going to want to tune in tomorrow. 9 to noon is when we will be on the air. Again, 9 to noon tomorrow. Make sure you tuned in for that and the huge announcement that we have for you. Hope to see all your bright, smiling faces joining us then. Also, coming up in the next hour of the show, very excited because I've never got to play this game with Diesel. We're going to play a game called Faces and Heels. Diesel and I are going to take a look at some socially ambiguous situations and try to determine who's the good guy and who is the bad guy in those situations. Lonzo hates this segment with a fire of 1,000 suns because there's no riding the fence on this. You got to determine a good guy and a bad guy, and some of these get a little ugly, get a little heated. So we'll play Faces and Heels with Diesel coming up here in about 19 minutes. We're going to play that. Cannot wait. Look forward to hearing, because I got to like Diesel's like me, right? I cast the bad guy label, the heel label on a lot of folks that texters then go, no, Rob, you just don't understand. You just don't understand. A lot of moms catch the heel label out of me. Because a lot of y'all feel like once you have a kid, that kid is the most important person in the world, and it's fine you feel that way, but not to me. It ain't the most important person in my world.
And then you also feel like you have the most important job on the planet.
So Diesel's the heel in this section.
I'm fine with it.
All right, we're taking a break. We got Faces and Heels coming up in about 19 minutes. So make sure you're here for that. Back after this for the third and final best hour of the Rob Brown Show next on ESPN Upstate.
That was my term. Thank you very much. I came up with Angry Birds.
We said last week, USC means Southern Cal in 49 states. Carolina means the UNC Tar Heels in 49 states. That is my opinion that has been corroborated by other people, and it's even corroborated by the university itself. South Carolina changed their name to U of SC. They kowtowed to the real SC, and they made themselves U of SC.
The audience loves that.
Talking about Offsides with Mark Wright. Now 3 to 7 p.m. on ESPN Upstate.
AutomotiveMap.com presents the Sports Flash on ESPN Upstate. College Hoops Monday at the CBI. UNC Wilmington advanced with a 76-75 win over Drake. Northern Colorado eliminated UNC Asheville 87-84. The Basketball Classic, Coastal Carolina advanced 84-68 over Florida Gulf Coast. South Alabama eliminated South Carolina Upstate 83-79. NHL tonight, the Hurricanes look to snap.
What is this, a Sunbelt Invitational? Half the damn league is in that tournament.
Charlotte wins in 5 straight. They're 9th in the East.
App State got bounced from that tournament in the first round.
I saw that.
By USC Upstate.
Who just got bounced in the second round.
Our basketball program is not good.
Good.
I mean, at least they made a postseason tournament. They had like a 19-14 record on the season. It's not bad, but they're not good.
That's the Sports Flash. I'm Chuck Sanders on ESPN Upstate.
Here we go. Sorry, we would have had another 30 seconds, but the game promos are because Lonzo hadn't been here to put one in, so.
And away The money hour of the Rob Brown Show goes now. This is ESPN Upstate. Hello, Upstate South Carolina. Hello, America. Hello, world. Including our dear listeners in Finland, who we learned about yesterday. The Rob Brown Show's back on your radio. It's ESPN Upstate. I'm Rob. He is Diesel, filling in for Lonzo. Not a time today did I call him by the wrong name, because we're in the same room for the first time in a very long time. See, no mistakes when I could look Diesel in the face and be intimidated by the schmedium shirt with a gun sticking out. Metaphorical guns. Diesel doesn't pack heat in the studio that I'm aware of. Anyway, a lot to get into, a lot to talk about the third hour. Next segment, we got Faces and Heels coming up, and very much looking forward to that. Hey, Tampa Bay is back for one more time. Tom Brady unretired at 20 days after retiring, whatever it was. Tom Brady called it a career and then said he's out. Let me ask you a question, Diesel. Fair or foul on this one? The Tampa Bay Buccaneers. You know, the NFL franchises are in it to make money. Don't let Rob Manfred and the baseball owners convince you that owning the franchise is a hobby and not a business. All right? They're in it to make money. Of course they are. If you would like to buy season tickets to watch the last ride, maybe, of Tom Brady this season as a Buccaneers fan, you can do it. There are season tickets available, Diesel. But if you would like 2022-23 Tampa Bay Buccaneers season tickets, you must also buy 2023-24 Tampa Bay Buccaneers season tickets. If you want to be a season ticket holder for this season, you must purchase season tickets for this season and next season, presumably without Tom Brady, who will likely call it a career after this one. Fair or foul by the Bucs, Diesel, to require their fans / Brady fans to buy 2 years of season tickets to watch Brady play the last one?
Look, if you are a legitimate Bucs fan who just loves the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, you know, you got Bucky Bruce, or what's his name? The Buccaneer Bruce?
Yeah, I think it's Bruce.
It's Bruce, but it's Bucky Bruce or Buccaneer Bruce or something. If you've got Buccaneer Bruce Sheets.
No. They changed it. It's
Bucko?
now, no, not kidding.
Oh, God.
Captain Fear.
Are these owners letting their grandkids name the mascots? Stop. Bucko Bruce.
Captain Fear is a Caribbean pirate captain and the official mascot of the Buccaneers of the NFL. He has been the mascot of the Bucs since 2000 and replaced a parrot mascot previously known as Scully.
Anyway. God. We're in a downward spiral, people.
Captain Fear.
Is that Butter's second sidekick? Is that the second sidekick to General Disarray? He was Professor Chaos.
Yeah.
His sidekick
Disarray,
was General Disarray.
Yeah.
And
Great
then
name,
Captain
by the way.
Fear
Great
is
name
the
of that.
sidekick of the sidekick. Look, if you are a hardcore Tampa Bay Buccaneers fan who has Captain Fear bed sheets at home, then it shouldn't matter to you, right? It shouldn't matter who's playing. You love the team. You're going for the team. But like from a business standpoint, man, it's just so cheap. It's so cheap of the owners. It's brilliant. It's brilliant. But it's so cheap. You know, there's a lot of colleges whose athletic departments require 2 and 3 year commitments to buying season tickets if you want to get in if you want season tickets for this year. When you got the really big opponent coming to your home stadium, you got to commit to next year and the year after that too. I mean, I'm sure you can always get out of it. I'm sure you could just stop payment on the check if you want to, I guess. But still, it's brilliant, but I don't like it.
No, it's one of those things that it's like you're out of line, but you're not wrong, right? Like it's a business, right? And you, the consumer, have the right to say the product is worth it or the product is not. Is watching Brady's last year worth having to buy tickets to watch Brady's not last year, the year after that? But it's one of those things that just feels dirty, right? Like, it's clearly just to make that money. Because here's the draw. Tom Brady leaves the Bucs at the end of this year. You know, the rest of the guys on that team are going to want to be out after that, right? Tampa Bay goes into a full rebuild. They're going to be bad the season after that because everybody's going to want out when Tampa Brady is gone. So the team's going to struggle. So we're just going to make sure you got to pay to watch us struggle if you want to watch us pay, if you want to pay to watch us thrive. It's like, hey, you're not wrong for it, but it's still kind of messed up, right? Anyway, Captain Fear, ladies and gentlemen.
So it's really not Bucko Bruce anymore?
Apparently it never was. It never was. Let's see. Bucko Bruce. Bucko Bruce.
Oh, Captain Fear is this pirate that kind of looks like Animal from the Muppets. That's who Captain Fear is. Okay.
Bucko Bruce was the name of the pirate that was on the old creamsicle orange
Yeah.
helmets. That was Bucko Bruce.
And
Bucko
that is
Bruce
a
was the
phenomenal logo.
That was a great logo. I don't know why they got rid of that logo.
It's an all-time GOAT level logo.
The uniforms were hideous, but the logo was dope, right? If they kept that logo but changed the colors, they'd have a great uniform. When they went to the pirate flag hanging off of, first off, the flag's on a sword, which doesn't make any sense. All right.
Yeah, it would just rip right through.
Yeah, I understand you can't just have a flag on a pole as your logo. It's got to be cooler than that, but like, it doesn't make sense. Bucko Bruce was a dope logo. It was just the creamsicle orange and white was not a great look. If you're going to go orange, you got to go neon orange, right? You got to go Tennessee orange. You got to go Florida orange. You got to go Auburn orange. You can't go faded vintage orange. It's not a good look. Baltimore Ravens mascot, Diesel, is Poe the Raven, which makes sense, you know? Edgar Allan Poe writing the poem there. The Cincinnati Bengals has a tiger, which they named Houday because they ripped off the Saints and went from Houdat to Houday. The Cleveland Browns have a dog mascot named Chomps. They have a live bull mastiff named Swagger Jr. And then, of course, they have the old school Brownie the Elf. The Broncos mascot is a Bronco named Miles, but they also have a live horse mascot named Thunder 2 after the retirement of Thunder 1, of course.
It should be Thunder Tooth. That's even cooler. Thunder Tooth.
The Texans have a mascot named Toro. So he's a bull and his name Toro, which is bull in Spanish. So his name is Toro the Toro or Bull the Bull. The Colts Colt mascot, which is the most cracked out looking mascot in the NFL, is named Blue. I will tell you this. I hate everything about the Jacksonville Jaguars except their mascot, Jackson DeVille, who is not a great name. But here's the thing. Jackson DeVille's intro to games, Diesel, he zip lines off the light towers atop the stadium down to the field.
Okay, that's ballsy.
And he does backflips and stuff when he does it. His entrance alone makes him top-tier mascot, Jackson DeVille. Kansas City Chiefs have a wolf as a mascot named, this may shock you, KC. That's his name. Let's see. The Dolphins Dolphin is named TD. The New England Patriots mascot is
I thought
Pat
it was
the
Snowflake.
Patriot. No, that was just that awesome movie that he was in. Yeah. The Steelers have a cartoon steel character named Steely McBeam, which is also Diesel's porn name. It's funny enough. Steely McBeam. The Titans.
No, my porn name is Peter Ridewell.
Missed having you on the show, buddy. The Titans have a mascot, Diesel, in the most nonsensical one. That is a raccoon named T-Rack. T-Rack the raccoon.
And these teams have marketing departments that make millions of dollars.
They went with the raccoon because, also hilariously, the state animal of Tennessee is the raccoon. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, Tennessee picked a state animal and they went with the trash panda. Respectable. At least they know their place, you know? They know their place. The Cardinals Cardinal is Big Red. The Falcons Falcon is Freddie Falcon. I don't hate.
That's one Freddie that's not flying the coop from Atlanta.
There he goes. There he goes. The Panthers logo, of course, is Sir Purr, which I'm not a fan. Not because I don't think a Panther is a dope mascot, but because Sir Purr looks like an animated Saturday morning child's cartoon character mascot, right? He's got like the big wide open eyes, and they even put the little sun glare spot in his eyes, so it looks like he's more like, oh.
Like if you want to have
a kick-ass Panther.
If you want to have two plush mascots, like man in a mascot suit things, and you want to have one that's your game day, like roaming the sidelines, kind of mean, tough, badass looking one, and then you want to have one for kids, like when you go out and do community outreach events, and you have one that's more suited to like 10-year-olds, that's fine. I'm totally down with that. That's totally fine. But to have the kitty mascot roaming the sidelines, then again, like it's weird when like a 50-year-old dude is like screaming, Sir Purr, come here, Sir Purr, Sir Purr, and he wants a photo with Sir Purr.
Yeah, it's weird. It's a kid's logo. Florida State does that because Florida State obviously have Renegade and Osceola, right? The Seminole rider is Chief Osceola, and then they have Renegade the horse, and that's like, and what I think personally is the coolest intro in all of college football is Osceola and Renegade running to midfield and planting the spear. But FSU created a kid mascot named Cimarron, who is like a plushy Beanie Baby style of Renegade that they use for kid events, right? So like at the baseball game, they have Cimarron run around and take pictures with the kids. You can do it that way, but like also have a cool mascot. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
The Bears mascot is Staley the Bear. Apparently the original name of the Chicago Bears was the Decatur Staleys, so they honored them with that name. The Cowboys named Rowdy. That's not awful. The Lions lion is named Rory. Roary. Clever. The LA Rams ram is Rampage. That's not awful. You could do worse.
Which one of them named their mascot just in case?
The Minnesota Vikings Viking is Victor the Viking. That's not awful either. You know, I can work with Victor. Not really a name I think of when I think Vikings, but
there are a lot of 8th century Victors running around in Scandinavia.
The Saints have a dog named Gumbo, which, all right, that makes sense for New Orleans.
Why is it a dog?
Because they're the Saints. What else are they going to be? Like the Pope? They have the Pope running around?
Sure, why not?
The Eagles have an eagle named Swoop.
Oh, it should have been Eagly.
Eagly
the eagle.
The 49ers have a 49er named Sourdough Sam. Oh, that's awful. The Seahawks have a Seahawk named Blitz. They also have a real living hawk that flies in. His name is Taima, which I'm assuming has some regional connotation. And of course, the Buccaneers have Captain Fear. The Washington Commanders have a bunch of fans that sound outside the stadium and go, "We are Commanders," bum, 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 which they really did. Don't know if you heard that audio, but the day they announced the name was the Commanders, they went live to Commanders HQ, where there was a group of fans gathered working on chants for the fan base, which is fine. But this group of mental giants, in their quest to find the perfect fight song for the Washington Commanders, stood outside the stadium, and when asked, "What did you come up with?" they sang in front of a national televised feed, "We are Commanders, bum, 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 bum," and suggested that as their actual fight song.
Oh, people at Farmers are either loving it or hating it.
Oh,
I mean, how many more people do you think are going to sign up for Farmers Insurance who already have that jingle because they if it gets adopted and widely spreads throughout the Commanders fan base?
First off, it won't, because social media had a day making fun of it. Second off,
granted, social media has a day making fun of literally anything that happens.
Yeah,
it can be almost universally beloved by fans, by administration, by players and coaches, yet Twitter will still
You have to
rip it
acknowledge
apart.
that We Are Commanders bum is objectively hilarious. Objectively funny. As many people will sign up for the insurance company as leave it because they think that they are now an endorser of the Commanders. I love that. Love that. Bum. Anyway. All right, let's do this. Let's run to a break. When we come back here in just a minute from right now, we play Faces and Heels. Diesel and I are going to take a look at some socially ambiguous situations and try to figure out who's the good guy, who's the bad guy, and why. That's next on The Rob Brown Show and ESPN Upstate. There should be a Faces and Heels sounder in there.
Okay. This upsets me. There's a company called TravisMatthew.com
Okay.
that is selling trucker hats with a little patch on the front that says Bushwood Country Club 1980 Caddy Day Golf Tournament Champion. The problem is it's the wrong effing color. Bushwood Country Club's colors are red. I don't know if you remember the hat that Danny Noonan is wearing while he's playing golf, and the color that all the caddies have to wear while caddying is red. But this hat is blue and white.
I did not know this, and I found it out via social media yesterday. But apparently, the Murray brothers annually put on a Caddyshack alumni celebrity golf tournament where all of the actors from Caddyshack get together and play a golf tournament that you as a fan can like win or buy entry into and play golf with the the not yet dead members of the Caddyshack cast. We are Commanders. Bum.
Okay, let's see if this. Lonzo strikes again.
What now?
He did it to this cart number as well. And 01L8.
Zombie golf. Yes, please. Yeah. As soon as I said it, I'm like, that's actually really funny, but incorrect. Pars.
Hopefully this works. If not, you'll just have to act out the sound effect on your own. All right, that worked. We're good.
Super duper.
Super duper. Yeah, I was gonna buy a couple things from Bill Murray's William Murray golf clothing line.
Yeah.
Because it was like just real casual, like golf pants and stuff. And it's expensive.
Yeah.
Like, he's funny. He's not stupid. I'm gonna sell his stuff for cheap.
All right, the Rob Brown Show rolls on. It is time to play our favorite game of the week. It is time for Faces and Heels. Do we have the sound? We do. I know we do. Diesel's on top. Why would I doubt Diesel? That'd be silly.
Duh.
Hans, are we the baddies?
Tell me I've led a good life. Tell me I'm a good man.
You always were Paul Gorman.
I'm not the bad guy, kid.
Okay, fine. You either die a hero or you live long enough to see yourself become the villain.
It's not because people don't like you, man. You know, it's not because people don't want to give you a chance. It's because you suck. You know? You suck.
I'm not a bad guy. I'm not a good guy. I'm the guy.
Diesel and I got to take a look at some socially ambiguous situations. Try to figure out who's the good guy, who is the bad guy. We got some good ones this week, Diesel. Away we go.
Let's do it.
Young lady says that her 31-year-old brother is about to get married, and she has been asked by his bride to be in the bridal party. Said that in preparation for the wedding, the daughter that they share is 3 years old and picked out a white dress to wear to the wedding. Picked out a white dress. The mom, who's in the bridal party of her brother's fiance, went to the bride and said, hey, my daughter, who is one of like two kids coming to the wedding, has picked out a white dress. Is this okay? The husband, her husband, the brother of the bride, is now saying not only no, but hell no. My 3-year-old's not taking attention away from the bride. The bride is all upset that another woman, the kid's 3, would be wearing a white dress. She said, I have decided that they have been so mean and uncouth towards me that me and my daughter will now no longer be attending the wedding. My husband can go to his sister's wedding by himself.
Bonus, I don't like going to weddings anyway.
I know, winner. Who's the good guy? Who's the bad guy here, Diesel?
Well, look, I want to know, this is a detail we did not get in the description.
That's what makes some of these fun.
How traditional of a wedding was this supposed to be? And it would appear that the bride is either 1, a staunch traditionalist, or B, a Karen Bridezilla. And in which case, like, taking attention away from me, the bride, a 3-year-old, does anyone think that anyone could mistake this child as the potential bride. What is this? 1840 when like you would just betroth your daughter to someone at like the age of 6? Look, it's the bride is the heel.
Gotta be, right?
The bride is the heel.
Gotta be. The kid's 3. You know, if it was like a 19-year-old daughter that picked out a white dress, you go, okay, you're old enough to know that's not much. First off, this is a very subjective personal thing. I got no interest in like the old school traditional wedding, right? Like all the old, I don't care about any of that. I want like a couple of things. If some girl ever does enough drugs to marry me, Diesel, I want a couple of things. I want a live band at the reception and I want an open bar. That's it. That's all I care about. All the rest of the traditions can kick rocks. If it is your inclination to have that, that's totally fine. It's your wedding. Absolutely.
Yeah.
I will show up. I will do all the traditional things for you. I don't care. If you are a traditionalist, have at it. But if you are upset that a 3-year-old girl is wearing white to your wedding, I feel like you're in your own head a little bit, right? Like I get it's her day. First off, can we stop with it's the bride's day? No, it's the couple's day. All right. The man's involved in this, right? Like he should have him say.
Yeah, if it's the bride's day, what's the point in the groom even showing up?
Y'all just go have a party for her. I'll be at the house with dinner ready when you're done, right? But if a 3-year-old showing up in white is enough to set off your insecurities that you're not getting enough attention, it's on you.
There's also an issue here where the parents, was it the father of the little girl that was upset?
Yeah.
Okay.
He's like, oh, my sister's going to be mad if she wears white.
He also needs to learn how to tell his child no. There's a lot of kids out there, and it shows, who've never heard the word no.
Yeah.
There's a lot of NBA stars who have never heard the word no either. If you want to rehash that conversation, you got to be able to tell your child, no, you're not going to wear white to this. You're not going to wear this dress, because the theme of the wedding, I guess, is traditional, in which case the flower girl wears what? Pink? I'm not sure. I'm not sure what the little girl.
Colors.
Yeah, I'm not sure what the little girl is supposed to wear in this situation.
But she's not a flower girl. She's just there.
Okay. She's not even in the party?
No.
Oh,
the little girl's just.
Then it really doesn't matter.
Yeah.
If she's not in the wedding, it really, really, really doesn't matter.
Yeah, if the 3-year-old is putting you off like that, that's on you. You got some insecurities you need to get worked out at that point. All right. Here's one. Diesel, I this one strikes home for me because I don't have kids and I don't plan on having kids because I'm selfish and greedy and I like my money. All right. So 27-year-old woman, 23-year-old man, they just got married and they have decided that they are going to be child-free. However, the husband's family is a very traditionalist family. You know, the old, like, get married, have kids, that's how it works kind of family. They made their family know, they made it known to their family when they were getting married, like, we're going to be child-free. We don't want children. Neither of us wants to have kids. Says she has an aunt who is constantly asking, when are you going to have baby? His aunt, who is constantly asking her, when are you going to have a baby? When are you going to have a baby? The family wants a baby. When are you going to have a baby? Said, I asked her multiple times to please stop. But at the last family dinner, she asked when we plan to start having more babies. And I said to the aunt over the table, just because of that question, I am scheduling my hysterectomy tomorrow. And she said the dinner table went absolutely silent. Said, my husband is mad at me because I took it too far, but I could not think of a way to make her stop asking me when am I going to have a baby. Who's the face? Who's the hero?
If she wants another baby, let her have a baby.
Not mad at that.
Yeah. Look, as somebody who has recently gotten engaged.
Sure. Really?
Yeah.
Pull the trigger.
Yeah, pulled the trigger.
Congratulations,
She's got a ring
pal.
on that finger.
I did not know that. Congrats.
Yeah.
Diesel's locked down. Ignore the deep voice bass, lady.
There have been a myriad of family members who have heard the news through the grapevine, asking, when's the date? When's the date? When's the date? When's it going to be? Do you know when it's going to be?
Sure.
Like, no, we got to get yesterday, but I'm just saying it happened. Just because you say, I don't want to get married or I don't want to have kids, doesn't mean that like 2 or 3 years from now, something might happen in your life. Something might stir theological standpoint that changes your mind. People are allowed to change their mind. People have 20 years old. Yeah, I'm never getting married and I don't want kids. Who end up getting married and having kids.
Oh, not me. I was halfway in on that.
Not yet.
Not yet. Not yet. We'll not be having kids. I know that. Like that's when I started dating the lady friend, like first conversations we had were twofold. Number one, I don't have kids and I don't want kids. So if you want kids, that's a deal breaker. And that's okay because you want, and we just want different things. And the second thing is I watch a lot of sports, and whatever you think the definition of a lot of sports is, double that and then do it again. And that's how much sports I watch because you put that out up front, right? But here's the thing. I have people in my family. I'm 37, never been married, no kids. You know, I'm on the way, but not to having kids. I still have people in my family that are like, hey, when's Rob Brown 4 coming along? And I'm like, never. And they won't stop asking. So there comes a point. I have lied to someone before about getting the snip because I'm like, if you ask me that question again, I'm going to get clipped.
Here's what you do.
I don't want to hear it.
You adopt like a 15-year-old kid who's like a year or two away from moving out of your damn house and name him Rob Brown 4.
That's it.
Sorry, kid. I know your name is
Can I just say,
is Jonathan whatever, but your name is now Rob Brown 4.
Can I just say I respect blowing up the dinner table like that, right? Like if she won't get, there comes a point where if somebody won't get off your back, you got to blow it up. And she blew it up. Last week we had a story, so I'll tell you this one because you weren't here. Last week we had a story where a wife and her husband were in a fight because they had just moved like 2 hours away from the hometown, and they're in their like mid-20s, so they're not old, but they moved like 2 hours from the hometown. And she said, my husband's mom basically calls like every day, multiple times a day, and is like trying to talk my husband into getting us to move back to the hometown because she's lonely and yada, yada, yada. And her hours of calling have gotten weirder and weirder. Said the other night she called at like 2:30 in the morning, like 3 times, and left voicemails like, hey, I'm really lonely. Can you call me back, son? Right? She said after the 3rd time the phone rang at like 2:30 in the morning, she answered the phone, Diesel, and then started making sounds of pleasure to go over the phone line into mom's ear. Even though they weren't in the act of said pleasure, she faked it as if they were. And mom called the next morning and was like mortified by it. And the son, the husband was like, you can't do that. And Lonzo went, oh, she's the heel because she yeah, it's inappropriate the mom's calling, but like, that's a weird way. Just go, hey, he's asleep. Stop calling unless it's an emergency. And I went, that's an amazing way to handle that situation because, hey, mom, can you not call at 2 a.m.? She's going to call again. But if mom calls and hears son and wife engaged in carnal activities, mom's never calling at 2:30 again unless it's an emergency. If you have somebody who won't give it up,
you got to teach people boundaries.
Yeah, oh yeah. Blow it up. I loved it. All right, let's get 1 or 2 more in here real quick. So here is, let's see. Let's do this one. Yeah, let's do this one. 31-year-old woman has been with her 31-year-old husband for 10 years together. She brought a dog into the relationship. He's not a dog guy, which is a red flag, by the way, but he's not a dog guy. All right. Got into the relationship. She one day asked the husband to take the dog for a walk. He was like, hey, it's your dog. I'm not getting up at 4 a.m. to take your dog out. It's your dog. It's your responsibility. Mm-hmm. Right. Well, he bought a pickup truck. Pickup truck was like 45-minute drive away. He called the seller of the truck, called the guy and was like, hey, I got the truck. I'm here in X town. If you can pick it up today, it's yours. If not, I got to bring it back and I'll have to sell it elsewhere. So he calls the wife and goes, hey, he's a delivery driver. Hey, I can't get off my route. Can you go pick up this truck for me? I'll send a cab or an Uber to get you. And she said, no, the truck's your responsibility. You own the truck. It is your responsibility to get the truck. He said, if you don't go get it, I'm not going to get the truck. She said, it's not my responsibility. That's how we're playing this relationship. Oh. Face and heel, Diesel. This one's a little tougher, I think.
Oh man, and I can't say that they're both the heel because they're both.
You gotta pick one.
They're both being immature.
Yep, but you gotta pick one.
They're both being immature. Let's see. Wow.
I like
that
this
is
segment.
hard because this is clearly a toxic relationship.
Yep.
Look, I'm gonna say that she is the heel. She is more of a heel than he is because it is her dog. She brought the dog into the relationship, and she presumably has the ability to get up and walk the dog herself in the middle of the night. She just didn't want to. Okay? She didn't want to, so she asked him to do it for her, and he said, "Not my dog, not my problem." Now, he is at work, can't get out of it, and she presumably was off that day and could go and do it. Now, we're going to operate under that assumption because we don't know. Maybe if she was at work and she couldn't take off the day to go buy this
She
truck.
said she was not. She was just at the house.
She was at the house?
Yep.
Yeah, it's her.
She just wanted to make a
she's,
point.
She's the heel. She's the heel. She's being petty. She's making the point. You know, that is let's play this out as if they dated for a long time, got married, and stayed married for a long time. They would both get tremendous utility
They've been
out
married
of
10 years.
Oh, they've been married. Okay, excuse me, I
Yeah.
missed that part. They would both get utility out of this vehicle, whether it be trips to Home Depot,
Sure.
taking the boat to the river, whatever it might be. They'd both get utility out of this vehicle. She said, "Nah, not gonna do it.
Not gonna do it.
Not gonna do it."
Wouldn't be prude. Slip, slide
It's her.
to the center.
It's her.
He's the heel. He's the heel. Yo, I get it's her dog. And the dog's old, right? If they've been together 10 years and she brought the dog into the relationship, the dog's at least 11. It's an old dog. Man, the dog's hers, and I understand it. However, when you get married, you saddle each other with each other's responsibilities, right? Like, even if you don't like the responsibilities, when you get married,
One
those
might call that
responsibilities come together.
baggage.
Yes, but those responsibilities
Baggage of
come
a dog.
together. She didn't ask you to drive the dog across state line, right? She asked you to walk the dog, take the dog outside, let the dog do its business, bring the dog back in, but you had to make a fight out of it, right? You made a whole damn fight about taking the dog out. And so she is literally doing to you the same thing you did, except for all she asked you to do was to walk the dog. You're asking her to get in somebody else's car for the better part of an hour to meet somebody else to buy the truck and then bring the truck back 45 minutes the other way. You're looking at 2 hours of her day minimum. You're looking at inviting your woman to be involved with two separate strangers during the day, the Uber driver and the guy you're picking the truck up from, right? And all she asks you to do is walk the dog? No, big dog, you asked for it. You asked for it.
Wait, I'm willing to bet that she did not ask him to walk the dog one time. Guarantee it's not one time. So your argument of it's a difference in 15 minutes of taking the dog out versus 2 hours of driving to go pick up this truck. Look, all she has to do is ask him to walk the dog 8 times. That's 2 hours right there.
Right, but he said no, so screw it. You said no. You said it's your responsibility. Fine. If you tell me that's your responsibility, that's fine. But I'm going to hold every one of your responsibilities over your head forever moving forward. I've worked with that guy in radio before, right? That I'm like, yo, we got this project. I need help. Can you help me? And he goes, that's not my job. That's your job. Cool. But I want you to know every single thing that you need help with because it's your job from this point forward. I'm going to go, it's your job, not mine. Sorry. Like, you have to work together. All right, last one. And this is a sports one, Diesel. The other day at the end of a Portland Trailblazers NBA game, the Trailblazers have a young man that plays for their team named Yusuf Nurkic. He, Diesel, is an Eastern European guy.
You don't say.
Yeah. So Nurkic, after the game was over, they were playing in Indianapolis at the Pacers. After the game was over, Nurkic, who was not dressed for this game, he's in a burgundy-colored suit with a white T-shirt on it, walks over to a Pacers fan who looks to be about 27, 28, walks over to him, gets face face to face with this kid because he's an NBA guy and this kid's kind of a short little dude. The guy raises his cell phone and puts it in Nurkic's face. Nurkic, with an MMA caliber stare down, takes the phone out of his hand and just throws it about 10 rows up into the fan section, stares this kid down like he's going to beat the hell out of him, and then eventually, obviously, walks away. And there was a lot of folks going, dude, that's not cool. That's not cool. Well, it came out today from a Yahoo Sports report that during the game, this kid was yelling at Nurkic, your mom is trash and your grandma's a B word. Oh, by the way, Nurkic's grandmother passed away about 3 months ago from COVID. Mm-hmm. All right. So he's calling this NBA player's mom trash and his grandma a B word. Nurkic takes his phone, yeets it into row 17, stares the kid down, and then walks off. Face and heel.
That's the easiest one so far. The face is Nurkic, the heel is the runt.
I'm so glad you said it. I'm so glad you said it. Because I've seen so many people that like, you can't do that. You can't do that. You can't respond to words with physical threat.
What happened to you can't get away with being a little,
what he called his grandma?
Yeah.
A boat head. Absolutely. I got to tell you, NBA fans the last couple of years have gotten really look, talking trash is part of basketball. I get it. But man, you can't do that. Can't do that. And the worst that happened is you got your phone thrown up into row 12. That is what it is. It could have been way worse for you, pal. Turns out the kid's like a 28-year-old trust fund baby whose dad owns a Fortune 500 company. Mm-hmm. That kid's never had anybody get in his face in his life, and he found himself staring down the chamber of a 6'11", 290-pound man who was pissed. I love it. Good on Nurkic. All right.
There's a lot of people in this world who could use a good ass whooping.
Oh, dude. If this world ever came to a point where we were allowed to vote on whether a dude deserved to get punched in the face or not, we'd be better off. As Mike Tyson said, some of y'all got real brave behind a keyboard because you ain't never been punched in the face when you deserved it. Let's take a break. We'll come back. 2 more segments, and then we're out for the day on the Rob Brown Show, ESPN Upstate.
The Rob Brown Show.
Listen on your Amazon or Google smart speaker.
Just say, play ESPN Upstate. From the Ingles Market Studio, this is ESPN Upstate.
97.7 FM Greenville. 97.1 FM Spartanburg.
ESPN Upstate.
An Odyssey station.
I started my business in 1986 and began paying employees. I would handwrite checks and say, here you go. Don't cash it until Tuesday. That came to a screeching halt when a teenage employee said his dad wanted to see his pay stub. Pay stub? We don't have pay stubs. Get back to work. He said, Dad works for the government and state law requires I receive a pay stub. Uh-oh. Hi, I'm Mike Capel, CEO of Patriot Software. After many emergency calls, I learned how to correctly withhold payroll taxes and create pay stubs. I avoided handcuffs and an orange jumpsuit that day. That's why I created Patriot Software to help small business owners do their payroll taxes correctly with pay stubs. And if you need help, we'll help you for free. Go to patriotsoftware.com, enter promo code RADIO, and I'll give you 2 months of payroll processing free. That's patriotsoftware.com.
Elise and Carl needed a small business loan fast to order more equipment for the bakery. Elise suggested ondeck.com, but instead, Carl called Loans Falcons!
Wait, no. No!
Falcon, you! Loans Falcon, why? There's a better way to get a fast small business loan. OnDeck, the online lender that makes it easy to apply in minutes and, if approved, get your loan as soon as the same day. With lines of credit up to $100,000 and term loans up to $250,000, OnDeck lets you choose the loan that's right for your business. As America's largest online small business lender, OnDeck has funded over $14 billion to businesses like yours, so you can borrow with confidence and get your loan fast. Go to ondeck.com. Your loan is on deck. Depending on certain loan attributes, your business loan may be issued on deck this year. Utah Chartered Industrial Loan, FDIC. Eligibility for same-day funding. OnDeck does not lend to this. All loans subject to lender approval.
Your happiest spring starts with Lowe's, and it all starts with firing up that grill and making spring sizzle. Get those gatherings started with Pit Boss Pro Series pellet grills starting $4.99. With a conversation
Yeah, I mean, you invested in the kid, and he didn't have an awful year playing for the Texans. Mills might not be the wrong girl. You can say our flower girls wore white in our wedding. Yeah, I don't care. Like, it's a 3-year-old, dude. Like, get over it. If you think a 3-year-old's going to take the shine off of you, that's a you problem. That's just a you problem. Keegan said the 3-year-old is the heel for picking white. When you can take out a kid, take out a kid. I'm good with it.
So you might be thinking, wait, that's two things. A hat trick is 3. But in this metaphor, great savings counts as 2 goals, and so does round-the-clock protection. So it's like 4 goals, and that's more than 3. It's basic math.
Kid Rock says he is uncancelable on Tucker Carlson.
The clown. I believe he also told him that the former president called him for international diplomacy advice.
Yeah.
Which I just love the concept of Ambassador Kid Rock.
He ran for governor. Well, he fake ran for governor of Michigan. It was all a publicity
I remember
stunt.
that.
And everybody's like, oh my God, he's gonna win.
All right, just a reminder, on at a special time tomorrow, the Rob Brown Show tomorrow airs from 9 a till noon. We'll have a major announcement about the show and about the station. Again, that is tomorrow from 9 a.m. to noon. So if you're used to listening to us from noon to 3, tomorrow's special time of 9 to noon. So fire us up once you're in the office. We got a huge announcement coming about the show. No, I'm not fired. Relax, haters. I'm sticking around. You got me for another couple of years. You're welcome. Got a big announcement about the show. Got a big announcement about the station. And we will make it tomorrow at 9 a.m. So make sure you are plugged in because it is big time. It is big time for us. It is big time for the station. And it is big time for you guys as fans. So make sure you're tuned in tomorrow. Special time for the show from 9 until noon, ladies and gentlemen. Again, if you missed it earlier, the South Carolina Gamecocks men's basketball program has hired Lamont Paris. He is the current head coach, former head coach of the Chattanooga Mocs. The Mocs in the dance this year, missed beating the Illinois Illini by a point. Put up, 44 in the first 22 minutes of the game and then 18 in the last 18 minutes of the game. Just a rough out. Even a little bit more consistency in the second half of that game. And the Mocs knock off the Illini out of the Southern Conference. But they were in the dance after defeating Furman on that heartbreak dagger of a 3 in extra time in the SoCon tournament finale. Lamont Paris, after taking his Chattanooga Mocs to the dance, is now the official head coach of the Gamecocks of South Carolina men's basketball program. We don't have the financial details yet. At least they have not been released that I have found since the show started. We should be able to report those for you tomorrow during the show again from 9 to noon. So make sure you're listening then. Matt Ryan now in Indianapolis Colt. We will wait to see. Matt Ryan is due tomorrow was due a massive roster bonus, and that's why the Falcons made the move. Now the Falcons saving about $9 million off of what they would have owed. Also sign Marcus Mariota for what I now see is a pretty team-friendly contract overall. Does that mean that we will see potentially Baker Mayfield in the mix for the Falcons next year? We will talk about that tomorrow on the show as well. Let's take a break. We'll come back. Twitter trending topics wraps it all up. I'm Rob. He's Diesel. This is the Star Award-winning Rob Brown Show right here on ESPN Upstate.
So Mark's fire alarm went off yesterday in the middle of a show. Owen called me freaking out. Like, what do I do? What do I do? Mark's not coming back. So I said, you're going to have to go find a segment.
Place.
You're going to have to find a segment from the 3 or 4 o'clock hour and replay it. Should I play one that's
off that long?
I guess he said that he didn't think Mark was coming back. because he also didn't know how long the fire alarm was going to go.
Yeah,
off.
that's what.
You know, you just don't know. And so he's like, what do I do? I said, you just got to play something that's longer than however much time you got left and cut it off when it's time. I don't know.
I don't know what to tell you.
I don't know. Texter says, if my parents call me at 2:30 in the morning, I know I'm going to a
100%.
funeral in 4 days.
100%.
Did you read that on the air already?
No.
Okay.
I'm a mama's boy. I talk to my mama all the time. I will never judge anybody for it. But my mom calls me at 2:30 in the morning, and as she used to say, somebody better be bleeding.
Yeah. Oh, Ashley FaceTimes her mom every single day.
I got no issue with that. That's all. Like I said, I talk to my mom all the time. I will never judge anybody for being close to their parents. A lot of people I know wish they could have the opportunity.
Yeah.
But again, my mom don't call me at 2:30 in the morning because she's lonely.
My phone is set to do not disturb. And there's only like 3 people set in my favorites who can call me over in the middle of the night. Otherwise, it's going to voicemail. And besides, I'm a domesticated house cat now.
Yes,
But
you
nobody's
are.
calling me at 2 in the morning.
all the people who would call you at 2 in the morning are over it.
Yeah. I'd be like, you can have your emotions tomorrow. You want to like schedule this for 10 a.m.? Kyle Bailey of WFNZ in Charlotte said a Panther source tells me that Carolina has no interest in trading for Baker Mayfield at this time.
Okay.
Not surprising given what we know about Ben McAdoo's pre-draft assessment of Baker Mayfield in 2018.
Yeah.
Micro Bennett. Do you ever sometimes wish that you had your sick voice all the time?
Yes, my deep, sick voice is a great sound.
Don't just sanitize it. Micro Bennett. In a world. In a world full of unseen threats growing on everything we touch.
You have that commercial
Micro
memorized?
Bennett. Huh?
Said you got that commercial memorized.
No, I just made that up.
Oh.
In a world. "30 seconds. Here's what's happening on the internet. Let's see what Rob Brown knows about it. Topic number 1 is hashtag Disney walkout.
Disney. Oh, that doesn't sound good for Disney. I'm gonna. Oh, by the way, I don't know if you guys saw it. If you don't follow me on Instagram at the Rob Brown Show on Instagram at the Rob Brown Guy, there was an actor portraying Goofy at one of the parks who did the perfect cast from the Goofy movie as a dance as Goofy in person at Disney World. I have never respected an actor more. The top 2 jobs an actor has ever done that I respect is number 1, the actor portraying Goofy doing the perfect cast in real life, and number 2, Nicolas Cage playing Nicolas Cage in a movie about Nicolas Cage.
Yeah.
I'm in for those 2 things, but I don't know what this is.
Imagine if like a Colombian drug lord thought you were so cool that he was going to pay you $1 million to come hang out with him.
I do like money. You know, I do like money.
Disney employees, the LGBTQ members of the Walt Disney Company staff staged a walkout today in protest of Florida's parental rights and education bill, dubbed by some as the Don't Say Gay bill.
Okay. And that's where we'll leave that one.
Okay. Next up, it is Malik Willis is trending.
Yes, Malik had his pro day, and I'm going to go ahead and straight up tell y'all, Malik's your guy, Carolina. Malik's your guy. Don't miss out on this one. I'm telling you, the dude looked like a gangster at pro day. He had Russell Wilson move. He had the A-Rod big arm. Dude was dropping 55-yard passes, 55 in the air on dimes. Get him while you can at 6, Carolina. That's the future. But you won't because Matt Rule.
You don't know what you're doing.
Because Matt Rule.
Next up, Yusuf Nurkic.
There you go. My guy. My guy is taking heat, and he's probably going to get fined.
He
Right?
has.
He got fined.
The announcement today is that he was fined.
Wait, don't tell me $75K.
Not quite. $40,000.
$40K.
That's a $40,000 cell phone.
Worth it. You know what?
Worth
I was going to say, I hope it broke. I hope it broke. I hope that kid's phone broke, and I hope he couldn't get an Uber, and I hope he had to walk home, or he had to beg somebody for a ride and go, Corolla, gross. I hope. Give me one more. We got time.
Amanda Bynes.
Never mind. We don't have time. Saw the other day, she said that like some agent told her a couple of years ago that she looked like a monster, and that's why she couldn't get roles or something.
Her 9-year-long conservatorship was terminated Tuesday, 4 months after Britney Spears' conservatorship was abolished. So now she is a free woman to do her thing on Instagram, like Britney, who's posting nearly nude photos on Instagram, and deep inside, 17-year-old me freaks out every time.
Settle down, Brit. Mark Ryan's up next. We'll see y'all tomorrow, 9 to noon, for a very special version of the Rob Brown Show on ESPN Upstate. Later.
Sorry, I had to.
Nope. All good.